Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's Tarocchi-Play. This week I am using the Mythic Tarot, a tarot deck based around Greek mythology. And as usual, I'll be pulling three cards to speak to the unfolding of our week. So let me just shuffle this deck and connect, and we can be right with you. Okay, I'll cut the deck. We'll take the top three cards. Our first card will look at, oh, I picked up two, sorry. The first card is going to represent the current moment, what's happening in our field right now. Our second card will look at the past influence that brought us here. And that third card will look at the future potential. So, turning the first card, we have the Page of Swords. Now, here we see a young man dressed in a blue tunic with his sword blowing wind, and you see he's sitting in the clouds above the mountains. Now, with the swords being the air element, this is all about the thinking mind. And the page here is being represented by Zephyrus, who was known as the west wind. So he's blowing a very harsh west wind. And his story is that until he settled down and married, he was very abrupt with his blowing of the wind. He was forceful and he was not very nice. He caused a lot of storms and he put people in a lot of discomfort with his wind. But once he married, and he married Iris, who was the messenger for Hera, okay? Once he married her, because she was so beautiful and so charming, he actually calmed down and his wind became a very gentle, soft blowing force, which everybody was very grateful for. So in this moment, if you think about the air element and Zephyrus here sitting on his cloud blowing that wind, are you blowing smoke? Are you hearing someone, or are you basically thinking and elaborating and you really don't know what you're talking about? Or somebody in your field is giving you that kind of energy. So just bear that in mind. Have you been very forceful with your words and maybe not to the best of everybody's benefit? So let's see where it came from. Well, it came from the Ace of Swords, so we're still in that thinking mental mind, okay? And here we see Athene. Now, Athene is represented in the Major Arcana Justice card. I don't know if you remember her from previous readings, but if you remember Athene, she's always dressed in full armor. You can see that with her breastplate here. So she's always looking for a fight in a sense, but she has a little bit of diplomacy about her. She doesn't go rushing off fighting. She just knows that she can handle herself if anything untoward is going to happen. Now she's holding this sword not directly straight up. Remember, the directly straight up sword means real clarity of thought. Here, again, it shows this double-edged meaning in the thinking process. So, and you see she's in quite a barren land. So, in the past, have we met someone or have we had the experience where we've had a feeling that maybe we need to say something or do something to make amends or to clarify something, but maybe we actually spoke too harshly, or the person that we spoke to didn't take it well and returned that to us, a very harsh, forceful west wind. Let's see where it's going. Okay, well, we're still in the swords, so we've got a lot of thinking this week. And here we have the seven. Now, the Seven of Swords is represented by Orestes, who is sneaking back into the castle. If you remember, his story was that the sun god Apollo basically is forcing him to go commit matricide in order to get restoration for his father's murder. His mother killed his father, so now he's being demanded by Apollo to go and take revenge. Now, he doesn't really want to, but he knows he has no choice. So this card is representing that guile and that ability to sneak mentally, being very careful of one's thoughts and one's speech to get back into the castle as if undercover, okay? So sometimes this can give you the feeling of sneaking around and a bit of a betrayal. But essentially, it could also be seen as using the smarts to actually go through with the plan that has been demanded of you. So think about that. Have we in the past come to a come to a decision? It's double-edged, but we've come to a decision and it's a newness. Remember, the ace is at the beginning of the journey. So it's almost like an epiphany. We've had this realization that we need to do something, say something. We've been thinking something. But unfortunately, maybe it didn't go down so well. That west wind came out of the mouth or came out of the thought, or we heard it from someone else, and it wasn't that pleasant. But what we're seeing here, if you remember the story of Zephyrus, once he calms down and gets married, his tone changes and that wind becomes more gentle. So maybe that's the decision of using his guile and using his discretion to sneak to get the job done so that everybody feels better about the wind blowing. So I hope that makes sense to you. Let me know how you get on, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.